How is a virtual MMI different than an in-person MMI? What are some of the differences to expect?
So I've never actually participated in an in-person MMI, but all of the resources out there on how to prepare for the MMI were really geared towards an in-person one. So I can talk a little bit about what an in-person MMI looks like, and then Shada can lead you through what the online MMI might look like. And then that can kind of give you an idea of really what the difference is. So other than the obvious difference that one is in front of your computer and one is in person with other people, the in-person MMI, essentially there are a set number of stations. I believe there have been MMIs, depending on whatever program it is, 6 stations, 8 stations, 12 stations, it really depends. And so essentially what will happen in an in-person MMI is you'll have a prompt on the door. You'll have 2 minutes to read this prompt. You'll enter the room. There will be someone there that is recording essentially what you're talking about, evaluating you. And then depending on the station, there may be someone that you need to interact with. So then you will go into that station in person. You will follow the prompts on the door, whether it be interact with the individual, whether it will be talk about what the question posed to you was, talk about whatever issue was posed to you. And then essentially each station will have a set time limit. And really the people in the station, if it's in person, they are able to ask you prompting questions as well. So they can ask you probing questions. So let's say you finished your answer, you had 6 minutes, you finished your answer in 5, they might ask you a prompt or a probing question like, oh, well, what if this was different? And they'll really try to see how you're thinking. And then essentially, once you're done that station, you'll exit, you'll go on to the next station. And then you'll have a little schedule that you can follow, basically which stations you go to, which rotations you go through. And then once you rotate through all of the stations, that would complete your MMI in person.
All I can really say is the structure of it is very similar. So I won't go into details in terms of timing and the platforms that they used and things like that. But it essentially is the idea of having the prompt and having time to prepare, however that much may be, and then going in and answering the question or, giving your answer to the prompt, whatever that may be. And yeah, the biggest difference is that you're in front of your computer screen. So the etiquette is what's really the biggest difference, I would say, is the idea that, obviously if you're in person, you're interacting with individuals, whether it be multiple in a room or a standardized patient, for example, whereas, on your little computer screen, you might not be. And so the idea is, maintain eye contact still, treat it like a formal job interview. And, as much as it might seem intimidating, I actually preferred the online MMI. It was nice to be in my own little room and kind of have that sense of familiarity around me. And, you were able to dress professionally, but have kind of that calm environment. So yeah, there's definitely pros and cons to both. I think that, with all that's going on right now, it's nice that they've transferred to the online and they've made it so accessible, and they've still been able to do the MMIs online. So yeah, like we said before, prepare for anything, and just know that, they're not going to trick you. It's exactly what it sounds like, and it's exactly as it's written on the MCMASTER website.
How should you dress for the virtual MMI?
So I think the biggest thing for this question is everyone thinks about professionalism. I used to have a nose piercing in my undergrad, and that was kind of the thing that I worried about. I ended up taking it out a year before my PA interview, but there are classmates who do have certain facial piercings or have tattoos on their arms or anything like that. I know a girl who goes to U of T, she has this beautiful artwork on her chest of tattoo work, and that's something that people will ask, oh, is that frowned upon? Is it okay? And really, although you want to dress professionally, the way that I dressed with a blazer and a nice light pink button-up shirt and a nice pair of pants that were comfortable to sit in front of my computer, but professional enough that if I ever had to get up, I wouldn't catch myself in an awkward situation. So that was kind of how I dressed. But in terms of, how should I do my hair? Do I wear makeup? Dress the way that you would, that you feel is a professional setting. And that's the beauty of it. I love the color pink. So I got to add it to my outfit because I thought it was great, and that was a little touch of myself. I like to wear my glasses when I do interviews because I think it makes me look smart. I won't even lie about that, and I wore my glasses during my interview. So really just however you feel comfortable to dress, that's in an appropriate manner, do that. Don't try to dress to be someone you're not. Don't try to dress the way that you think they want you. Just remember professional attire. When you think of a professional setting, think of the way that you would dress as if you were a PA and you were about to have a consult with a patient. Dress, obviously, not scrubs, but obviously within the clinical setting, of course. But for example, dress professionally in that way. So in terms of like men, women, non-binary, gender identity, how you dress, really dress appropriate. If you're someone that perhaps is a non-binary individual and you're worried that you might dress too feminine or too masculine, dress what makes you feel comfortable. You want to be confident in your skin. You want to do this interview in a way that you really want to bring your best foot forward. So however you choose to dress, dress professionally, dress for an interview, and dress the way that makes you feel confident in your own skin. If you feel more comfortable with your hair up because you're scared you'll play with it, put it back. If you're scared that your glasses might get fogged up because you're nervous, take them off. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, that's how I would advise dressing.
Exactly. That was really well said. And that's always what I tell PAs or pre-PAs and individuals who are in the process of applying when they ask me. I always think, just dress the way you would dress to an interview. You don't want to be too formal and you don't want to be too informal. You want to be like a nice, comfortable in between. So for me personally, I didn't end up wearing a blazer and button down. I actually just ended up wearing a turtleneck sweater, and it was a light purple color, and it was the sweater that I wore for the 𝗘𝗧𝗛𝗦𝗢𝗦, and I believe that it had some form of luck, so I wore it again. And I wore pants, and I advise everyone doing a virtual interview this year to wear pants because, again, you never know, and if you do have to get up, like Toni said, awkward situation. In terms of, yes, no matter who, we're speaking to, men, women, non-binary individuals, again, just dress for comfort and also dress professionally, exactly the way you would if you were going into an in-person job interview, no matter what that would be. If you're applying to a job for the summer, you're not going to go wearing, light wash jeans and a crew neck, you know what I mean? You're going to dress in a blazer and you're going to, feel comfortable, but also look professional. Other things that I wanted to add in terms of, it's not dress, but just the idea of having a very professional environment. Having good lighting when you do the interview is really, really important because they want to be able to see you, and checking that audio, making sure the video looks okay before you go into the interview is very, very important. So if you can do that, please do. Make sure your internet connection is good and not faulty because that would be a nightmare during an interview. And again, obviously maintain good eye contact. I know it's with a webcam, but the smiley face idea is really good. I wish I had used that. I just kind of forced myself to look up. But yeah, when you practice, you'll get used to it. And obviously just make sure you're smiling. Be confident. You've made it this far and you're so close. Put your best foot forward with whether it be the way you dress and the way you present yourself. Just put your best foot forward, smile, be confident, and really just show them your personality because that's what they're at the end of the day looking for. So if you can do all that, then I'm sure your interview will go amazingly.